If you're someone who has either recently launched a business or about to, here is one thing in your astrological birth chart that I recommend you look at, because I wish I had looked at this when I started my own business. And by aligning your business with this key aspect in your birth chart, you can maximize your visibility, meaning that you can find your ideal target audience with more ease. And when they come across your business, whatever that is that you do, they're gonna resonate with your message by aligning to this one aspect in your birth chart. So in today's video, let's dive into what exactly this is and how it's the key to making your business a success. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabel, your spiritual rebel friend, and today we are talking about business and astrology, specifically one specific aspect in your birth chart that really is key to maximizing your visibility. If you are someone who has launched a business, recently launched a business, or maybe you have launched your business and you're not getting the clientele that you are targeting, it is because of this astrological aspect. And let me tell you, I've been doing astrology for 5 years professionally, and it wasn't until I started incorporating this one aspect in my birth chart that I finally start getting the revenue stream that I was striving for and the ideal clientele that I was trying to target. So we're going to talk about in today's video what this aspect is in your chart and how you can start to practically apply it in a very simple way to maximize how you are seen in a professional setting so that you can attract the ideal clientele that you're looking for. And something to keep in mind that if you have not launched yet, if you are about to launch a business, this is something you're going to want to double check before you hit publish, before you make an announcement, before you go live. And of course, if you want to go deeper into your unique birth chart and how this plays a role in your unique business, then I invite you to book a reading in the description box below, because this aspect in your chart is going to have one of 12 placements that everyone has. There's one of 12 placements that you can have of this aspect in your chart. But your whole birth chart plays a really big role in understanding what your business is supposed to be, how you can best succeed in doing work in your business, and what you're meant to do even in the first place. So if you want your whole complete unique guide to your birth chart and how this plays a role in your career and purpose, I invite you to book a reading. Link is in the description box below. So what is this aspect in your chart that really strongly influences your success in your career that you should take into account? It is the midheaven. Now, if you've been following my channel, that does not come as a surprise, but I recently had a meeting with a client where this was even further accentuated, the importance of the midheaven. And before I get into the story with my client, let me tell you some of the data of the midheaven and why it plays a role in your career and how it plays a role in your career. Heaven is the constellation that was at the highest point or middle point of the sky at your moment of birth. We all know of our rising sign, and it's really great to take the rising sign into account here to understand and grasp what the midheaven is all about. The rising sign is the constellation that was at the horizon, rising up into the sky at your moment of birth. And it's supposed to, as we all know, if you're familiar with astrology, represent our appearance, how we are recognized, what our traits are, how people first perceive us. So that's the rising at the horizon. But then we reach our highest appearance, our highest authority, and that is the midheaven. Whatever constellation was at the highest point in the sky at our moment of birth, that is the zodiac sign that when we embrace it, we are most seen. Always the way I like to also look at the midheaven is the easiest constellation to see in a clear night sky is the one when we look directly up. All we have to do is turn our head up and it's right there. So it's something that's obvious. It's something that gives a sense of authority. The midheaven is also said to be like our throne because it's at the highest point in the sky. It represents our highest authority. So when we embrace the zodiac sign that our midheaven is in, our MC line, in other words, we become an authority. We expand our influence and we are more easily seen. Simple way to put it as well is that the midheaven sign is your professional public image that you should embrace. A lot of astrologers like to interpret that it's also the field you should work in, but I don't love leaning into that approach, though you can take that into account if that helps you. That is, though, a concept and topic for another video. The midheaven in the end tells you how you can best present yourself. And it actually plays, with that in mind, a big role in how you actually design your business. Meaning, how are you showing up behind camera? How are you talking to someone on a cold call? How are you talking to your client? How are you designing your website? And on that final note, that was the example that really made me feel inspired to talk about this again. Because I was working with a client who is about to launch a business of hers that she's been planning, scheming, and working on for a long time that ties into her life story. And it's a really cool business, by the way, that I will definitely be mentioning in the future once it's launched for her. But we were in a call talking about the importance of, one, her launch date, the date she chose to launch her business. But additionally, it was really important for her to take into account that I was reminding her of making sure she feels in alignment, in aligning with what this symbolizes to her. She even, before the call, sent me her website that she was launching, and she had this whole story to go with it. So I looked at her website before the call, and I brought it up to start our call off, saying, I loved how the website looked. It was a very beautiful website, really well said, really true to what you're trying to do. So to say, the intention to communication filter was very clear and cohesive. And she was saying, it's funny because one thing I specifically mentioned for her was, I love the color scheme you chose. It was very her. It was very colorful, very bright. And it really represented her. And she said, what's funny is that I had this whole dialogue with myself about the color scheme, because one version of me wanted to be professional and had all these shoulds popping up in her head about what colors it should be. It should be minimalistic or beige, and it should be white and clean, and all these random beliefs of what the website color scheme should look like. And so that was what I believe she said she had set up on the website for a while. She was looking at it and goes, this is just not me. And yes, it may be less professional to use pink and purples and colors and all these things, but it's me. And my ideal clientele is gonna see me for my color scheme. And I just moved my camera. They're gonna see that color scheme, and it's gonna resonate with my ideal clientele. And in a very spiritual setting, in a very non-linear, just impractical concept, that is a very important concept to root into in and of itself, is the right people are gonna find you for you. But I further was able to accentuate this point of why it was so valuable for her to stick with this color scheme and the wording that she chose, even if it wasn't what everyone else thinks she should do, because her midheaven was in Pisces. And not only her midheaven was in Pisces, her sun and moon are in Pisces, in their conjunct and in the 10th house. And so what I was able to interpret here for her is, Pisces is meant to be seen for their creative and spiritual being. They're very non-linear, and they do what feels right. So if choosing a certain color scheme is what feels right to you, if it feels creative and expressive, those are all qualities of Pisces. And so that is going to actually further propel your success rather than being inauthentic to maybe more of, let's say, a Virgo color scheme that is all practical and simple. And not only because her midheaven was in Pisces was I able to say, well, you should actually be going with this color scheme that you've chosen and choosing the wording that feels right to you, but also because her sun and moon were conjunct the midheaven. This is all about her success is going to come the more she shares who she is authentically and how she feels. The moon is also the inner child. So if it felt like an expression of her inner child to choose those colors, that is actually going to be a major factor in her success. And she felt so much more empowered with choosing the colors and the wording that she did that was in alignment with her, even if it felt less professional. And I guarantee you it's going to be one of her biggest factors in success going forward with her launch date. Not only because it is aligned with her and she has a great message that is aligned with her midheaven and her mission statement, so to say, but also because she's now in the right energetic field for it. So that is her story on how exactly her midheaven played out for her, because her midheaven's in Pisces. She will find the most success and authority by being seen as spiritual, expressive, and creative, all traits of Pisces. and maybe even a bit childish and dreamy, because Pisces is very naive in many ways. They have that very lighthearted energy to them, very spacey, very dreamy. Now, on the other hand, if you have your midheaven, let's say in an earth sign, let's say Capricorn on the other hand, these are the people who really feel like they need to show themselves as a professional. And so everything that we do when we launch a business or start a business, and something to keep in mind with a business that really helps to look at through astrological view, is how am I presenting myself? Because we can have all the messaging right in theory, in our heads, we can have all the information to give, we can have the right price point, but if we're not being seen, and if we are not presenting ourselves in alignment with our midheaven, I've discovered it doesn't matter what you do, right? You will not find your ideal audience, or better said, your ideal audience will not find you. So aligning with your midheaven is one of the simple ways that we can subtly adjust our existing business to attract the ideal clientele we want. In the direct opposite example, same applies for me. I have been doing this astrology work for 5 years. 5 years of creating content, over 1,000 videos having been created and published on multiple different platforms, many different strategies. And it wasn't until really this year when I started to implement my midheaven in Virgo in showing my content in more practical ways, in simplified ways, and being focused on service and showing myself in even more straightforward, simplistic ways, that I started to actually attract the audience who wanted my content for my authentic voice. And that is the number one, so to say, compliment or note I have from clients. They say, you just make things so practical. You make things so simple. You make things so applicable. All three of those words are very heavily associated with Virgo, which is what my midheaven is. So if you're someone who is launching a business, who has launched a business, and you're not getting the clientele that you want, I invite you to pull your chart, which you can do through many different websites online, and look at what sign your MC line starts in. What sign is your midheaven, in other words, or your 10th house, in other words, if you're using the Placidus system. Simply look for the sign your MC line is in. Do you currently present these qualities through the tone that you use, through the color schemes that you choose, through how you structure your sales pitches and your content? Would people describe you, simply put, in a professional setting as this sign? If the answer is no, then I invite you to experiment. Maybe try for 1 month, change the color scheme on your website, change your tone in your videos, focus on acting or dressing more like that archetype, how you would imagine. See if it creates a shift in your business. And if that's all confusing for you, if you have no idea even how to apply that, then one, I invite you always to book a reading, because readings are the way to get the personalized guidance you need according to your unique birth chart. And secondarily, I do have midheaven cheat sheets that I created for all 12 zodiac signs. So yours is in there, where you have a 1-page guide to how to embrace your midheaven and journal prompts to learn how to actually start to embody this. So it's not just the data, though the data is included, but it's also how to implement the data. And again, you have a whole unique birth chart. So if you're finding yourself stuck in your career, whether that's, do I need to change careers? Am I on the right path? Why can't I make money? If you have any sort of sticking point in your career, your profession, the work you do, and the amount of money you make, then readings are meant for you. Book a reading in the link in the description box below, where in 1 hour we can go deep into your soul's purpose and what you are meant to do in your career. And not only what you're meant to do in your career, but how you can make a lot of money doing it. The link is in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it and that it helped you understand your unique energetic imprint so that you can have the career success that you envision and dream of, because it is possible. It is already done. It is in your vortex and it is waiting for you to find it. So let me know down in the comments below, what is your midheaven sign? Is this something that you currently align with in your career? What do you currently do for your profession, for your career? What are you struggling with in your career? Do you have any other questions regarding this topic? I would love to create a video to help you guys understand this, because I know there's a lot of passionate professionals out there who are looking to manifest success in their lives, and I'd love to be able to help. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what helped, what didn't help, what questions you have. Again, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down the stars and more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, my name's Isabel. From my heart to yours, namaste.